Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Now from ELD's Time Ball Games in Bellingham, Mass. This is our Wednesday night Legacy Series, 4 rounds every week. This week we had 18 people. Just an awesome turnout. We do cap it at 4 rounds, though, so people aren't out too late. And Tony leading out with Ponder, followed up by Delver. So almost certainly gonna flip here based off of this stacking. Oh, and no, there were not instants and sorceries on top. Very interesting. So a Ponder good enough to keep, but not stacked up with an instant underneath. And it does not flip. Now, if that wasn't a card that Tony wanted, but it was an instant, what you can do is reveal it to Delver and then shuffle away. Play that's often made here. Young Pyromancer joining in on the battlefield. Brainstorm from Connor. I believe he's on Stoneblade here. Marsh Flats would back up that theory. See how this board develops. He's going to get overrun if he can't commit anything. Going to need some removal. Some counterplay here. Dismember. Very solid card here for Tony if he's worried about Stoneforge. Gonna think about the ways that Connor can get back into this game, as well as the value of the card with the current situation. Tony believes his hand's going to be strong enough to hold down the fort even if Tony does end up with a Stoneforge. Also perhaps feeling like if Connor had it, he would have committed it by tapping out. May or may not be correct. The basic planes leaves me wondering if this is actually going to be miracles. It really hasn't shown us a whole lot. No, there we go. There's a Stoneforge Mystic. And that prompts a Brainstorm plus a trigger for Young Pyromancer. Batterskull will be a huge problem, especially with the mana base that Connor's managed to assemble here. He's going to be able to pick up and put down Batterskull, even if it does die. And Force of Will on Stoneforge. Invocation Force of Will. Oh, thank you. 2 mana still available. Spell Pierce. Triggering. Spell Piercing back. We've got some fireworks here. Looks like Daze being the last card. Connor electing to Spell Pierce. Oh no, it's actually a Spell Pierce. Okay. That unravels everything. Pull on that thread, and that goes back to Stoneforge getting countered. So Tony correctly assessing that his hand was strong enough without the Dismember to handle a Stoneforge showing up. Looked for a second like the last counter was going to be Daze, and Connor making the excellent play of not tapping out to pay for the Spell Pierce. But Tony actually having enough counters to keep that guy off the board. Blue-Red Delver just loaded with counters and burn efficient creatures. A very, I would say, forgiving deck, or perhaps not a hugely demanding deck. I think it's a great deck for people who are getting familiar with Legacy. It allows you to have a say over what happens. It allows you to really be focused on, what's important within each game and potentially have something to say about it with your counter spells and your removal. But also, it's not looking to drag things out and turn it into a question of who can make the most right decisions over the course of a 30-minute game. I mean, it's very much going to allow you to, get aggressive, but also make sure that you don't get blown out and you know, have some time for snacks, which is always nice. We've got a beautiful snack section here at ELD's Time Vault Games. That's one of the possible strategies there. Keep your energy up. Play a deck that can actually finish before time is called, and that is definitely the case with Blue-Red Delver. Plenty of time for combos. The snack. There's no real combos in the deck. Closest thing to a combo there is, well, I mean, it's got Brainstorm and Fetchland. I do constantly say that's the best combo in the game, and I guess I'll stand by that here. So, anyways, enough small talk. Let's get down to business. Ponder from Connor on Stoneblade. Really going to hope to get a Batterskull going. That life gain just too much for Delver in most games, meaning that it's very likely that Tony would be bringing in cards like Smash to Smithereens to try and get rid of Batterskull. It is that powerful. Basics all around here. And it looks like a Flusterstorm being fired off at this Stifle. Connor would prefer to keep his mana base, and Flusterstorm's certainly going to make certain of that. Plus, they're not a particularly good card versus Blue-Red Delver, but probably better than the stuff that remains in the sideboard. So Connor fought over that Stifle only to have the Tundra wastelanded. Now a basic Plains coming down. Brainstorm for Tony. No creature on board yet. These early jockeying for position turns so much better when you have a Delver down, just chipping away at their life total. Makes each of those wasteland or stifles just a little bit extra damage tacked on. Everything is time walk. Say back in the day, trying to assess the impact of cards, and that really is the case when you've got mana denial and a creature out. It just kind of adds up over time and just closes things out before your opponent can fully stabilize. It looks like we've got a no-value Snapcaster. Very interesting here. We're choked up on just 2 lands. Decides that things are looking grim and it's going to be better to start the beats. Tony can just Snapcaster to get there, Lightning Bolt to just get that guy out of there. And really just reverse the roles altogether. Play a little bit more like a control deck. Young Pyromancer. And a Stoneforge Mystic. Spell Snare hits that. And a 1/1 body is going to keep that Snapcaster at bay. He's also not going to be particularly good at blocking 1/1s. Tony's got a decision to make. Does he just start turning it sideways, or does he actually clear the way? Here he's going to ponder main phase before his attack. Get a lay of the land. See what the best way to proceed is. Daze in hand. Still very good when your opponent's stuck on 2 lands. And he chooses to bolt the Snapcaster just to begin beatings with the young Pyromancer. Otherwise, you have to keep the Pyromancer back, giving up 2 damage a turn. 5 more damage coming across. Looking to close this one out. Connor counting up cards in his hand, checking if it's going to be time for discard, and this is not looking good at all here. 1 more turn. Don't believe there's very much that can save him. It would take a miracle like Terminus from someone else's deck on top of his library. That is it. 5 more damage going to be able to come across and close that out. So Blue-Red Delver making short work of Stoneblade in 2 very different games.